Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kim Wasabi here, giving you a little Bitcoin update on what I'm seeing here over the weekend. Nothing too pressing. Patience is going to win out if you just take your time and see the way the market's moving. Uh, but bringing your attention to the previous video of the empty space theory, measuring that low to that low, projecting from that high, gave you this high. So in a series of lower lows, lower highs, this was where we would expect supply to come into the market. Now, seeing that this high was broken and now we are that much higher, what I want to do is look for an opportunity of a potential swing failure pattern coming back down to back test this support right here. And everything appears to be lining up with regards to this range for a nice buy setup that's coming in. A buy setup that could certainly fail, but you need to have your invalidations. But I would like to take a measurement of those. So, well, let's start with what we did in the last video where I measured that empty space between here to give us our lower low, and then I projected from that high to give that area of where the supply should come in between the 1272 and the 100 fib extension. Came pretty close. On a closing basis, it probably came a little closer if I was to measure these on closures. But it came in the pocket. My invalidation for downside came at 71,000, if I remember correctly. And downside it came. So now taking that into consideration, if I was to take a measuring tool again and measure from this high right here that was broken to the current high, measuring this empty space in between here, and then projecting from our current low, we get a 100 fib extension of 58.8 to 60,351. So that would be the area that I'd be looking for a reversal or a buy setup. So that's currently what I'm kind of watching for. It hasn't really happened yet, and we're weekend trading, so I'm not super interested in opening positions over the weekend unless I see something that just looks like a great opportunity. So that's the empty space theory that says to be on watch for a potential higher low to come in there, based upon that being a higher high that we got on this chart. And the question with regards to the current leg down, if I'm looking for a buy setup between 60,000 and 58 or so, somewhere in that area, I have to know when this current leg is going to complete. And on a 4-hour, I would bring your attention to potentially the closing price action. So let's flip this to the line chart. So the line chart here is depicting the closing price on the 4-hour candles, because I'm on the 4-hour chart. So let's take a screenshot and we'll see if we could see what patterns that we're seeing here so that I can draw on it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So right away, my eyes are drawn to this area with this area. And if you see what's going on in the middle there, looks like a little ABC. That's low-hanging fruit. It's just what I see. So then we can project out from there. What else are we seeing? We see this leg here mixed with this leg here. Looks good. Now this little leg up there may be matching this little leg up here. So all we're missing is potentially this leg to come down here for the ultimate buy setup. I'm kind of targeting 57,900 to complete this pattern. I mean, what is this in Elliott wave terms? I mean, I guess you would call that an A, B, C, and that completes the pattern. Then what do I expect after that? Price could pop up there, and it could break the low. But that's my current idea for a buy setup. And out of there, if we get a higher high close, you can definitely get in on the higher low and keep pushing it and see if we get more progress out of that. But just look at how the price mimics that. It goes sideways, three wave, sideways. You kind of expect this to repeat somehow down to a target. The invalidation of the target is you start closing higher highs. Higher high, buy the higher low, continuation. Does that always work? No, sometimes you get stopped out. Like in this case right here, you closed a higher high. My idea was to buy the higher low and got stopped out, enter short because I was invalidated, short it down to current area and watching for this to match this little leg, and I'll sell it again, expecting that final push down into a potential buy setup. Like I said, invalidation is closing higher highs, because then you get higher highs and higher lows. Currently, there is no buy setup until you start closing above there. Then maybe you can buy the higher low. Stop loss goes at the low. And then you'd be targeting these liquidities up here. And then, of course, above. So why would that be significant down to 58,000, 57.9 area? What's the significance of that? Well, I would draw you to the 1 month chart. And on this chart, we'll look for we're looking at this wick right here. That's a very long wick. And these wicks like to fill in somewhat. So we'll just take a Fibonacci of this wick. And if the wick is to fill halfway through it, the target is 57,900, which for some strange reason just happens to line up with previous supports. It's right in line with it. So that's an area that I'm very, very interested in, and we'll see if it comes. If it does come, I would look for a higher high and then buy the higher low. If you want to knife catch at 57.9 area, your stop loss is the 53,500. Because if you break below that, then you're probably going to 51.9 and then potentially lower. So we'll see. We'll see what the market gives. But everything's looking pretty decent. Kind of looking good as far as the empty space theory, where I would expect a higher low to be put in order to potentially change the trend to higher highs, higher lows. So first step is a higher high. The next step is looking for that higher low on like a 4-hour. Looking at that high, that's the higher high. There's our low. We're looking for a higher low right in this vicinity. Would make sense to come in where it was supported, where price was supported before. So that would be your swing failure pattern. Back test, hopefully resumption up. We'll see what we get. And if we do get an uptrend starting here with higher highs and higher lows, we'll keep track of it as it goes and look for targets. There is a pattern that has a breakout target pretty high at like 90,000. Initial target is just grab that liquidity above, 73,500 or so. And we'll see if it rejects hard off of that. But this is where I'm looking for a buy setup. Targeting upper liquidity. There's plenty up there for us. So hopefully we get a good trade setup, and we'll keep track of it in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit me up with a comment, ask questions. If there's something you don't understand or something you want clarification on, do your worst.